So my name is Caleb Dickenson. I'm from Bethany, Oklahoma City area. I'm shooting my wonderful Daystate Red Wolf in 25 cal with the beautiful PRS chassis. I shoot speed as well, so I always had to have a speed reloader on my quick throw lever. I have a Hawk Sidewinder 8 to 32. It did well for me today. One away from clearing the course. But hey, that's you can always just give it your best and hope for good outcome.
Step right into the world of airguns with the Atlas Airguns Podcast. In today's episode, we sit down for an engaging chat with Caleb Dickenson, a prominent figure in Team Centercut. From his beginnings in the sport to his insights on airgun competitions, we cover it all. Get ready for an enthralling conversation with the mustache man himself, the one and only Caleb Dickenson.
So Extreme Field Target, you've been doing a lot of that. So that was your first time at the Cajun Classic. What do you think of that?
Oh, it was they put on an amazing event. They in Oklahoma here we shoot in dark and shaded conditions in the woods, but there in the bayou it's shaded. I mean it's dark. A lot of those trees, a lot of shadows, and and two, they have dark targets with dark kill zones, with dark backgrounds, and then shade. So ranging is very difficult. Especially at 16 power, you're really trying to cut it close with your ranging. And so that's the most difficult part about it. For me, it was. But I shot better the second day. So as long as I finish strong, even in those days that you don't quite have it, you would, quote unquote, have it. Finishing strong is my number one goal, in a competition.
Nice. So let's go into your team for a little bit. Team Centercut, the captain, I should say, is Mike Bricker. We had him on the podcast, I think like 3 years ago now, or maybe 2. Who else is the current members of Team Centercut? Because it's kind of like a secretive group. It's the Illuminati for all intents and purposes. So who's in this montage group that you have?
So we have Bill Miller. We have Derek Wall. You're putting me on the spot. Derek Wall, Barbara Pellegrino, Tony Pellegrino, and then Mike Bricker, Dave. Did I already say Dave Wilson, Bill Miller, and we have Paycon. I don't remember Paycon's. Yeah, how to say his last name? Paycon, and our newest member is Steve Govedich. And so
he's a Florida boy too.
Yeah. So I think I got everybody.
Yeah, he came to the Extreme Field Target Florida Grand Prix. He's a good shooter. I think they actually run a club on the west coast of Florida, somewhere around there.
Oh, really? Yeah. I was joking with them. I was like, "Hey, Steve, you can just on your way pick me up." This was at the time we were talking about going to Armac and stuff, and I was like, "Just drive up, pick me up, all the way." He's like, "No, I'm flying, man. I ain't driving all that way."
It's a long drive. I mean, once you get past Texas too, from Texas to Arizona, like Arizona, all of a sudden you feel like things are happening again. But that in between period, but after Austin, all the way through New Mexico to Arizona, there's nothing there. I mean, it's dead, and it's you see like a tumbleweed. You're like, wow, this is really entertaining.
Right. Yeah.
I've driven like 7 times across the country in the last 2 years, and it's just I hate flying, but driving is pretty hard.
Yeah, I rode with Derek and I rode from Houston, Texas, all the way over to EBR last year. And again, I've being an Okie, you go down to Texas all the time, and it's only a 3 hour drive to Dallas, but you're like, man, we're never gonna get out of Texas. It's just like you just don't realize how expansive Texas is, And then once, like you said, once you get out of Texas, you're like, all right, we made it. Like we can knock this out in a couple
Yeah.
hours.
New Mexico sucks though.
Yeah, it does too.
Yeah.
There's just
Okay,
nothing
sorry
out
to all
there.
the New Mexico people, but I think even
Yeah.
the New Mexico people are like, yeah, it sucks here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. Texas, like Texans, one thing I noticed about Texans is they're like, oh, it's just down the road, only 4 hours. You're like, what? And they're used to that, like driving
Yeah.
4 or 5
Well,
hours.
and it's the same thing with everybody over in the UK, or in Europe, where they go, man, there's no way I'm going to drive 3 hours to go do X, Y, and Z, and it's like, well, that's not that far. It's like from here to Tulsa, it's only an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic, and then you do that in a day, and it's no big deal. That's just like drive there and back, and that just blows their mind, kind of thing. Like, there's no way I'd drive, why not get on a train or do whatever? And it's,
Well, I think that's one of the weird little like subcultures with air guns, is especially field target. I mean, some of the air gunners, it's like, okay, once a year they're like, oh, I got to go to EBR, RMAC, or whatever their competition is. They go, I got to go. And they complain the whole time. But the field target guys, they do that every week where they're like, hey, I'm going to travel, 12 hours to go up to Ohio, shoot this competition, turn around, drive back, work my normal job the next day. And that's like a common thing for field target, and they all do it, and there's no money in it. That's the crazy thing.
yeah, that's exactly what I do. It's like to go to Ron Robertson's extreme field target matches. It's a 4 hour drive there and back. So I'll go down there, shoot that weekend, and then drive right back, and you know go to work. Kind of thing. And they just started Dave Cole and Mark Welker and Curtis Nelson. They all started an AFTA match up there in Tulsa, and so it's kind of one of those things that you just it's just an hour and a half trip, there and back. You might stop and grab you something to eat, cool, somewhere cool, and go shoot field target and come back. It's just for the love of the game, right?
So there's a lot of these new clubs opening up, and there's also larger. I've heard rumor that there's even larger events going to happen even in my state. So we're talking like you have NAC, for example, and you have other things happening in the background that are going to be probably equivalent to larger events like EBR and RMAC. Do you think that the larger events are going to oversaturate where people can't participate because they have not enough vacation time?
Well, I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, it's a catch-22, but on the other hand, I would say no, because um, you know, it would give us more options to go, okay, well, I can go to NAC and EBR, or I can go to RMAC, and and honestly, I think that's as the community. I mean, I've only been in air guns for like 2 years now, 2.5 years, and just in that time, the airgun community has grown so much, and the competition scene has grown so much, that I'm like, man, can we get more? Kind of thing. And obviously, everybody has air guns. Unfortunately, air guns are not life. And it's not life. But for a lot of us that we have daily, jobs that we go to, but it would be cool to have big competitions to go to in more areas. It's just like with the extreme field target. I hope that more the Grand Prix series gets bigger so that we can, like the closest Grand Prix to me is Ron's in Texas. You got guys down in Florida can shoot a Grand Prix down there, and or in Georgia and all those surrounding states there that can just drive down. And so that's what I'm really hoping for in extreme field target, is that it just continues to grow, and more GPs, and you know more. Nobody's ever said more air guns is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
Or not.
exactly. Well, the nice thing about the Grand Prix is that it really does make it more meritorious, and not just meritorious, but people that are actually putting their energy into the sport are getting reward for it. And if they do well in the competition, they get to carry those over to the nationals if they so choose. And that's a really nice thing that actually does play into that. I do see, not just for extreme field target, but for all the events, I do see eventually the necessity of getting a point system that's going to bleed into that larger event. Otherwise, you're going to just have a huge event occupied by some people that are, it might be good shooters, but they maybe should not compete. You know what I mean?
Well,
So, at
and
that event. So
yeah, right. And you do have a GP point system, for extreme field target. And last year at EBR, even though I won the the competition or won the national event, I came in second in the GP series to John Bagakis because he beat me by 1 point. So them boys over there, they have more opportunities to shoot GPs and stuff like that. So it's
yeah,
just
and
kind of
he's.
like,
I mean, I had a podcast with him. Man, it must have been 3 years ago, but he works. I think he works an odd job or something so he can shoot. I mean, shooting is his life, so that's what he likes to do. He'll do everything he can to shoot. And that, I think before he was doing the same for another hobby. It might have been RC cars. There's one of those other hobbies, but he's one of those
I
guys that
think he
gets
was doing
really,
pistols and or
yeah,
something like that. Pistol
yeah.
and yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that's cool about this community is that you get to go into these competitions. Yeah, it costs money, and yeah, it's difficult to get there sometimes. But I mean, you get to meet all kinds of cool people. It's just like Roger's on your podcast quite often, and
Yeah, he's a
I
kook.
just
That's why
did,
I
he's
put
a
him
good
on.
laugh, right? He's
Yeah,
a
I
good
put him
laugh.
on here. I don't put him on every single
Entertainment, right?
time, but I put him on like every other time. I just use and abuse him, but he
Yeah,
knows
just
that.
good entertainment. Get a good laugh
Yeah.
in, right?
I mean,
but
if you're down to talk aliens, he's the guy to have. He's the guy to
yeah,
have on.
but I 22 he came to the States, and I just enjoyed talking with him, and just getting to meet those people that you may only see online, like yourself. We got to meet at both 22 and 23 EBRs, and so that's what's great. One great thing about these competitions is, you know, you sometimes you even end up becoming like almost family with some of these guys. I mean, that's one great thing about Team Centercut is that we are a big family.
And on that note, you forgot Augie, right?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Augie, I did.
Augie. Yeah,
Yeah, I knew you would put me on the spot, and I
yeah.
should have had it all.
See, I know your
Everybody's.
team better than you do. How's that?
Oh my gosh,
Augie's a
I'm
great
gonna
guy.
feel
I've known him.
terrible. All right, you
I've
gotta
known
edit
him
that
for a
out.
while. I've
Edit
known
that
him.
in.
Oh, I totally forgot too. But yeah, I've known him for a while. He's a super
Yeah.
nice guy, and it was
Dude,
really cool.
Augie's phenomenal, and he's a good cook. And he's a really good cook.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah, he cooked for the team. I forgot the dish, but it was rice and chicken and all kinds of seasoning. It was very good. But
Yeah, it was
man,
great to see
I feel
him
terrible now. Thank you.
last EBR was the first time he's been there, and
Yeah.
almost couldn't make it happen. Some stuff in the background happened, but he was able to come, and it was so cool because I was like, I think the first time I've ever met him in person, which was really nice because I've talked to him for years online. But he was a good shot. I mean, I think he came in second on the Sportsman. So
yeah,
and then Mike, swooped in really fast again.
Yeah,
because he's a swooper.
Yeah, Augie's
anyway.
a great bench press shooter. Yeah. But now I feel terrible. Thank you. But I mean, it happens, right? Family, you're like, hey, yeah, you kid, or you
Augie, that guy.
Yeah.
So what you said? You've been into air guns for 2 years.
Yeah.
How did you start it? You get a Benjamin Marauder? Like what was your start of the program?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I got a Umarex Gauntlet Gen 1, and I several years ago, before I got even into air guns, several years prior, of course I was watching, this crazy guy, Ted, Ted's holdover, and watching his videos, and I was just like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. And I've been competitive in sports all my life. Never I didn't do a lot of hunting. I didn't do a lot of shooting prior, but I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna dip my foot in and try it. And um, I just had my gauntlet for a a couple months, and I was like, I wonder if there's like anywhere to like really shoot this. Is there a community? And I think I saw somewhere on like Airgun Nation that there was like a um, like a field target, and I was like, oh, so I called Pearl, and there at Oklahoma City, and she's like, yeah, come on out, you can watch. I don't think you can use your, it'd probably be feasible to use your gauntlet, but you can at least come out and watch. And I think that next competition, or it was that weekend at that competition, one of the guys was like, hey, I got a Marauder sitting in the safe if you want to get into this. And I was like, yes. I was just like, so I bought just right after that, bought a Marauder 177 to get into field target. And I shot that for a while. And now I shoot the Daystate Revere Safari
So
Huntsman.
I saw you did something with your Daystate. I don't think it was the Reveres for a
Red
high
Wolf.
power rifle. Yeah, you did something
Yeah.
to it. Like you had the GP and you repainted it.
Yeah. So I did, it's Cerakoted. I took my PRS chassis and I took it completely apart. I was originally going to get it anodized, but that didn't work out whatsoever, and it actually turned out terrible. And so I was like, I got to figure something out because this looks like absolutely terrible anodized. The way this, again, it was a guy that had a lot of anyway, there's a lot of great reviews online and everything. And he said he knew what he was doing, but it turned out terrible.
Anodization's hard to do
Yeah.
well. So.
Well, and two, I didn't realize that there's like different alloys and the metal and, anyway, so it was a big, long, drawn out thing. And so I went and took it to even more of a professional and got it Cerakoted, and it looks absolutely killer. And it's
so how do you like the Red Wolf Grand Prix? I always like to ask that because people seem to, once they get it, they're hooked.
So the Red Wolf, I will say, I've had it. I've had an Impact, and I've had a Wildcat. I've had what else have I? Those are the two higher end air guns I would say, are and they're great guns. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed them, but I was like, man, even before I joined the team, I was like, man, I really like the looks of those Red Wolves. I really, their longer rifle, traditional rifle look to them. And so I went ahead and bought a Red Wolf in 22 caliber. And so when everybody was having problems with the 22 redesign ammo, having flyers and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, man, is there for competition, is there a projectile that would work better for me? And so Mike Bricker and a few others, Bobby Cochran, was like, man, try 25 cal. I think you'll really like it. And so I bought a 25 cal barrel for the Red Wolf and converted it. And I absolutely love it. I would have 8 Red Wolves if I could. A lot of people don't like the computer in it, but I think that's one thing that sets it sets it apart. Is that literally, like today I was practicing, and the temperature shift or excuse me, I was playing with the speed, not the temperature. I was playing with the speed of my projectile just to see if there was something out there that I hadn't tried yet. And so I was literally able just to change the voltage by 0.22% and literally change my speed like that. I didn't have to change regulator. I didn't have to change hammer spring. I mean, everything just worked. And that's one thing that, I've loved about my Red Wolf, and I don't have POI shift. I mean, literally I take it out of the case. I check zero. Typically, it's a click or two, and we're off to the races.
Yeah, the Daystate and Brocock for me, man, they are just, I love those guns, and the point of impact change, what you're talking about, like all their guns are just so well made. They're real barrels. So like the Ghost, for example, that barrel, you can move it around and stuff, and you won't have that monocoque
I
frame
painted
totally
my Ghost
wraps
as
it.
well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I painted my Ghost as
Oh,
well.
I actually mentioned that in one of the podcasts we did. The barrel, right?
No, I painted the butt pad. I
Was it
painted the top rail.
Goldfinger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, it wasn't a podcast. It was a video I did. A couple of videos ago, I mentioned it, and because I remember seeing it, the Goldfinger, and I was like, "Oh, that's a smart name."
Honestly, with the with the with the new color, it has more of that you know like Leonidas, Spartan 300, kind of, look to it. So it's Goldfinger right now, but I think I changed it to like Leonidas,
Just Goldfinger.
Okay.
Keep a
Yeah.
Goldfinger. That's way better. 100%
Okay.
better. It's way more.
Okay.
Hey, maybe even get some, like, you could do some what is that? Austin Powers, like the Goldfinger joke. You could do like put some like gold like cough balls on the bottom for the car. Just
I
do
like
some
that.
kooky stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean the bottom rail, the BRK bottom rail with the M locks on it is gold. The PRS butt pad is gold. The top rail, both the top rails are gold.
Is that one 25 cal as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
going
love
back
25 cal.
going back to
Sorry.
electronics, I don't dive too much into the electronics or really at all, but I do admire them. I mean, the Alpha Wolf's a really great gun, just super great. I mean, obviously it's the same kind of platform as the Ghost, just the electronic side. But a lot of people are definitely scared of them, and I think it is the future. It's just gonna take a while for people to
it's just like trying to find that harmonic tune between the hammer and the uh, regulator and on anything else, but with the electronics, man, it's just it just works. It's just with the only ones that I've shot are the Delta Wolf, which is Alpha, Delta, and then the Red Wolf, but and then I think the Pulsar as well as a computer in it as well. But the Delta Wolf, I mean, literally, I was playing with Derek's and I just bumped up the speed to where I wanted it, and boom, shot it. It's like, how easy was that? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
it's like 3 shots and it'll cue in the speed.
Yeah.
The I know Augie and Mike Bricker are destined to shoot the Scout this year.
Yeah.
So
they've been
electronic gun.
Yeah, they keep posting group pictures, other groups in the chat or our team chat.
It doesn't count. Let's see it live action. That's the only thing we care about. Yeah.
But I mean, those are great guns as well. But you have to razz each other a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's kind of the whole team atmosphere. You just got to give each other a hard time.
So on your team, when's the next time the majority of you are getting together? Is that going to be RMAC?
So there's an Oregon shoot that a good, I think 4 or 5 of them are getting together in Oregon.
That's the Ashland, Oregon event.
Ashland, yeah, that's right. Ashland, Oregon event that they're doing.
That's Wayne that is the match director there.
Right. Okay, yeah, I think that's what. And then RMAC would be the next biggest event that everybody's getting together.
And you're going to that one, right?
So unfortunately, I won't be able. I found out that my in-laws are not able to watch them, so watch my kids. So
how many kids do you have? 3?
So I have 2 kids.
2?
Yeah,
I got you beat.
Yeah, you did.
I got 3.
Yeah, my wife and I keep, like, are we sure we're good with 2? Okay, we're good with 2. All right. Yeah.
It gets a lot harder at the 3 than it's like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to ask
only have
for
2
a table.
hands, so.
Right. And then you go out to eat and you go, oh, can I get a table of 6? You can't go for a table of 5,
And they
you
hate
know?
that too. The waitresses hate that. They're like
Right.
5, and you want a
Yeah.
6 or 8 person. Sometimes they're larger tables.
Yeah. But each and every one's a blessing, obviously,
Do you have boy, girl?
So I have 2 boys. I have Elijah and Ezra. Elijah is 4 years old and Ezra is 1. So that's you know, they're a fantastic blessing, and
If you do
hopefully,
have a third, Ezra is the middle of the in the Bible, the middle of the
yeah,
Bible. So you could
yeah,
have.
that's true.
I think that's kind of destined to be a middle child right there. So
No, 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 and then I really wouldn't be able to shoot. It'd just be all my time had gone.
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to compete. Nothing. But
So how old are they?
So Elijah is 1, and 4, and Ezra is 1, and so hopefully when they, get older, that they would, enjoy shooting as much as I do. But obviously, I want them to pick their um, their interests. There's nothing worse than getting something pushed on you that you're not really interested in. But
So Philip Hepler, he went to the Cajun Classic. He's a Red Wolf shooter as well, and he
yeah.
is a Daystate shooter. I'm always trying to get him to go to Extreme Field Target, so you got to do that for me. Kind of encourage him and bug him
So
about
I
that.
talked to him about it actually at occasions, and he goes, "Man, I really would like to dip my foot into it." And I think if he would just shoot it once, I mean,
Yeah, I
even
said
if
that
he
to him.
bought,
I
I
said it
think
to him this week.
even if he
I called
borrowed a
him up.
gun,
I called him up. I'm like, "Hey, can you talk?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I called him up. I'm like, "Why aren't you doing this? Because you're going to do it, and then you're going to look back and say that was the biggest mistake of my life, not doing this event." I'm like, just cut out one of these smaller events and go to that one.
right?
But
I don't. Do they even have EFT close to him? In he's in
um,
North Carolina,
now
right?
I know that there's some things happening in the background. So there's a potential of an event likely happening in Pennsylvania. So there's that, and I think that there may be some other things going around that area. I know that there's potentially one. I'll kind of leave it there because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But there's potentially a couple events going to be popping up. But currently, this last year, no, there hasn't been anything. And actually, the first GP ever east of the Mississippi was the Grand Prix that AOA and I threw in Florida. So hopefully that's the first of many. But there should be some popping up the United States. The question I was going to ask though, so like I'm always challenging Philip Hepler to break into that other discipline. Where do you see yourself going with the competitive side? Because you're very competitive, you're a natural competitor. Where do you think you're going in the next couple of years with air guns?
Um. So, um, I think really, and I guess I would like to obviously make it to RMAC. Next year. I think that getting out of just like your normal little bubble and go and stretch your wings and try other venues, even NAC or Pyramid Air Cup, and I'd like to try going to some of these other events as well. But my I guess discipline wise, I would like to make a lot of progress in is my bench rest. Bench rest, field target, big bore was a ton. I never shot big bore, and I won 3rd place last year at EBR, and so with Derek's gun, so that was a ton of fun. Anybody that has the opportunity to shoot big bore should definitely do it.
What was what was Derek's big bore that you used?
So he has a 357 Bulldog, that Benjamin Bulldog, that was modified by Brian Thurman at Veradium Air, and so they did like all kinds of valve modifications and barrels and all kinds of stuff on there. But it's a bullpup. I mean, Derek's a big bullpup fan. If you know Derek at all, I mean, he's the
The
size for
caliper gun, every
yeah,
caliper gun out there is a bullpup.
yes,
I hate
yeah,
bullpups, and like I just have to deal with it because it's like everyone wants a bullpup. So most of the guns I sell are bullpups, but I hate them. I like the Revere. It's a beautiful gun, you know, like classic.
Gun. Yeah, and I'm right there with you. Even though I have a 700cc bottle on my Ghost, so it kind of stretches it out a little bit for me. You know, but typically I don't get along with bullpups as well as I do full size, you know, rifles like the Red Wolf or Revere. But you know, kind of going back, I definitely would like to see my bench rest get a lot better. And reading the wind is just, I mean, as you can probably hear around me, you know, it's windy, you know, in Oklahoma all the time. I joke with Barbara and Augie and Mike, and you know, they go, "Oh, we had it." They send a picture of their groups on the chat, and they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, we had a little bit of wind today, and it was like a 2-mile-an-hour wind, you know, like, or a 3-mile-an-hour wind." And you're just like, "That's like dead still in Oklahoma. That's no wind at all. You could shoot groups all day long and they're gonna be like that, right?" But you know, in Oklahoma here, I mean, like last weekend, it was literally blowing 15 mile an hour with 25 mile an hour gusts. And we shoot with berms on either side of our range. Where we shoot, we don't have like the woods and all that stuff. And that's one other thing I'd say, going kind of back to getting, you know, places getting into EFT, you know, extreme field target, is that you don't have to have the cool scenery and, you know, yada yada. You just have to have the space to do it, you know. That's a good and a bad thing, right? You don't, you know, we use the 100-yard range to set up in Oklahoma City, to shoot our extreme field target. But you know, that and bench rest, and I need to practice some more on speed, shooting speed. Tom Adams and I, and Nick from Air Arms. What is his last
Nick
name?
Gregoris.
Yes, yeah. We're gonna be going head to head again this next DBR. So
yeah, you guys are all three of you guys are very you know, just, I don't know, good people. So Nick Gregoris is a really pleasant man, and so is Tom.
He is.
Very
He's
nice guys. So
they're both phenomenal guys.
Yeah. Well, I think we've come to a natural conclusion. I'm going to let you get back to your kids. And
all right,
it's been great having you on. I'll probably see you at EBR. I don't know 100% if I go there.
So.
Or not,
I hope you'll be there. I'm going to be there, but I hope you're there.
I hope I'm there too. I live on the other side of the country now, so it's like I said, I traveled 7 times across the country by car this last 2 years. So
yeah, don't you have a Yaris, Toyota Yaris?
I do. 52 miles per gallon.
Hey, dude, this economy, that's big, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
okay. I got hit by 2 people, and then I hit a deer, totaled it, and like fixed it for $300. So it won't die.
Hey, I ride it till the wheels fall off, baby. I mean, I would.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a while.
Yeah,
it has like a cult following. Like people like, "Oh, Tristan," you know, but then they see the car, they're like, "The Yaris! This is awesome."
Yeah, man. I remember some of your videos of like you testing out equipment and stuff like that, and you just like running it over with the Yaris, or you know,
better than a tractor, you know.
Yeah. Hey, if it can survive the Yaris, it can survive anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But well, I appreciate you letting me come on, and you know, it's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Yeah, and really quick before we go, where can people find and follow you?
So it's CD_Okie Airgunner on Instagram, Caleb Dickenson Facebook, and yeah, most time I'm just on Instagram and Facebook. So I normally post on Facebook, Instagram, and it transfers to Facebook, but I don't have Twitter or any of that other stuff.
You don't tweet your peeps. It's X now. Don't forget. You're hurting Elon's feelings if we call it Twitter.
I think he'll be okay.
Into better pastures.
Yeah.
I need to go on there more because it's like way more free than Instagram. But I'm seemingly on Facebook the most, and Instagram.
Yeah. Same here.
All right, my friend. Well, I'll let you go.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Atlas Airguns Podcast. If you liked today's episode, make sure to like with a 5-star rating, share, and subscribe to help us make more content.